it? Out on the
excursion.
What's that?
Excursion.
Excursion, I guess you could call it. Out on the set, out in the field. That's what they call it. Out in the field. Right? Okay, so this. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. That's today. That's right.
That's today. That's today. I hope you have your walking shoes on. Okay, great. So this is going to be at least a 2-part session. We'll see if we can get it done in 2 parts. It might take more than that. But this is about learning how to lead a Western Wall experience. Okay. So I want to just give you guys a little bit of an introduction. Anyone know what the Western Wall experience is? Ever been on a Western Wall experience? Okay, perfect. So you signed up for something, you have no idea what it is. I love it. That's actually fantastic. Okay, so I would say at least once a week, but probably more depending on the season. Groups come into Aish, the Aish World Center. Whether it's groups coming on organized trips, whether it's individuals, it could be donors, it could be whatever, visitors, all kinds of people come through the Aish World Center. And obviously we want them, they can come to Essentials, which we have, and people, I don't know if everyone's aware, but every day from 11 to 2 o'clock, we have Essentials classes, which are just open to the public. Anyone can come in. Yeah.
And Rav Dover always teaches the 11 o'clock slot.
It's not always, but often, yeah.
So,
Rav Dober, Rav Gav.
I just know he's a big pull, especially because of his videos, people know him.
Yeah.
It's a good way to.
Yeah, he teaches, Rav Gav teaches, Coach Ratner teaches, but there's a whole, mix of people who teach. But yes, Rav Dober and Rav Gav are 2 of the mainstays on that, and so a lot of people come in for that, which is great. But a lot of times people come to the building, and if they're not coming to hear Rav Dober, Rav Gav, that's maybe our top attractions, but people want to come to see the roof, right? That is a huge attraction. People know the Aish roof is something that you have to see, you have to experience, right? So many years ago, okay, I was not involved with this, but there was an idea to turn the Aish, to create something called the Western Wall Experience, where the Aish building would literally be turned into a interactive multimedia experience where people, I think the original idea, even I saw the plans once, was that people are familiar with the Discovery Class 7 Wonders of Jewish History. So it was going to almost be like an experience of going through the 7 Wonders of Jewish History with different types of media and interactive things and VR and all these types of things, right? Never happened, money wasn't raised for whatever reason, didn't have the permits, it never happened. But Aish did create, I don't want to call it a poor man's version because it's still, it's a very powerful experience. Another experience that we call the Western Wall Experience, where people can come into the building and they can really learn about Aish, but also get a very powerful educational experience. And what's amazing about it is, while sitting in the classroom is great, this is actually people going up on the roof, they're going through the building. And I have personally found that, just literally this last Friday, we had a gentleman here, his name was Gordon, blanking on his last name, but he's a minority owner of the Philadelphia 76ers with Josh Harris and Blitzer. This is a major person. He's involved with Federation, but because we've done this experience with people, the New York Federation tells that people that are coming on trips with them come to Aish, because you'll have an amazing 45, 60-minute experience crossing the Western Wall. So this guy came with his private tour guide and his private security guard, and I came in Friday morning and I gave him the tour, and he just walked out like beyond blown away. And not because of me, but because the location, because the experience and what we can show people and tell people, right? And so that's obviously one example, but I'm telling you, we have all kinds of groups, birthright groups, and we have different types of people coming through here. And it's a great opportunity for you guys to learn how to do it and to be able to take people through. Now, I said the similar thing with Essentials. It's not a guarantee that every person here is going to be able to do it. You have to make sure you can do it, you're qualified, you can represent Aish, and then it also depends on who's coming through, right? But I will say right now, there's not that many people who can do this, and the same people are asked over and over and over to do it. And there's also talks of how can we really expand it and promote it and get more people to come do it, which is also something we could discuss if people want to be involved with that and helping make that happen. And this is something that people will pay for. right? Not that we're not going to make all kinds of money, but people will pay to do this, which can then cover costs and whatever it might be. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay. So the main tour that I take people on, okay, and this is what we're going to go through, is first of all, we welcome people into the building, and we're going to actually get up, and I'm going to take you guys on it, okay, is we take people into the building and we welcome them. Then I take people up to the 5th floor where the Chihuly is, and that's a great introduction to Aish, which I'll explain to you why and talk about it there. And then we go up to the roof, which is really the main attraction, and people up on the roof, and we can there give over a number of ideas and messages that we want to give over. And then we go all the way down to the bottom, to the Hall of Notes, right? Anybody here not been to the Hall of Notes? It's fine, okay, a few people, okay, wow, so you're gonna get to experience it. So Aish has a really cool room on the bottom floor of the Aish World Center, which is like when you walk in, it feels like a little bit of like a meditation room. It's got like that music and the dim lights. And people can go in there, and the idea is they can write a note before they go right out to the hotel to write a note, take with them. But we have videos and things that we show them there about the Western Wall, about prayer that we do before they go. And then they have the exit, and they can go right out to the Western Wall. Okay. So that is basically it. I've seen at times people at the Kirk Douglas Theater. Sometimes people, I know Rabbi Mathias, when he does it, he likes to take people in there. Personally, I find you can show the films down in the Hall of Notes, and generally people don't have as much time. You don't need to do another stop, but just in case someone says, hey, why don't you guys go to the theater? I generally skip it and just do those stops. Yeah, you had a question? Or no?
Yeah, you said the main tour, meaning like different tours, or you're saying that's just the route you usually choose?
That's the route that I take people through. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, great. So I actually have here, these are my notes. This is my script, right, that I use when I go through. Now, like anything, when you teach, you have to make it yours, okay? You can't just read a script. You can't just, but I wanted to put in here so that that you will have a lot of information and know what I do. And when I go through it, I'm going to tell you guys, listen, these are the main points that we need to get across, right? So we don't want people to come through this experience and they just get your experience, right? It has to be an Aish experience. So, but to me, what that means is that not that we're reading a script, is that these are the core points that we want to get across to people that they come away with, but the examples and the other things that we can fill in that, everyone could really come up with what they want, or you can use the information that I'm giving you as well, but you have to be able to internalize it and make it yours, okay? So why don't, what do you think would be better? That I take you guys through it and then I give you my notes, or you want me to give you my notes first?
Yeah, I think I'm distracted.
I think those, yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, great. Okay, great. So let's go. We're gonna head over to the other building.
Can I record the trip?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Just like
It's breathtaking.
By the way, just so you guys know, in case it ever comes up, this door, this right here, I see that door on the outside right there, it's outside the gate, that actually is a separate stairway that goes right to the roof. So if you ever have like an individual or group that you're taking, and let's say you don't want to take them through the building or whatever it might be, boom, you just take them
Right here on the left?
Yeah, right
And it's
here.
open,
Right,
you can
yeah,
just
it's
open it. It's open.
You have a card.
I don't know if it's open. Obviously, if you're going to do a tour,
Oh, if you're doing a tour,
keys and
yeah,
things
yeah,
that you
yeah.
do. But no, I don't think it's open. Generally.
Gotcha.
So generally, when people come in, I always just start them here and welcome them. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I always like to tell a joke. Whenever people come into Aish, the two things they always first ask for. What would you say they are? What? Water. Okay. Usually we have what? Bathroom. That's the one. And Wi-Fi. Right. That's what people want to know. Like, where's the Wi-Fi? Right. So. But usually it's good to welcome people here, and would you introduce yourself, right? That's the most important, and then introduce Aish, right? And so in the notes I have some notes of what Aish is, but usually I keep it very simple. Aish is an international Jewish organization where our mission is to connect Jews all over the world to see the beauty and relevance of Judaism. We do that through this building where we have thousands and thousands of people coming through. We have a full-time school next door. online. We reach millions of people. We have branches all over the world. But the goal in all of these places is to help people who maybe didn't see Judaism as being relevant into their lives to really see that it can be relevant and meaningful. And that's what we do all over the world. This is a special place. We take it, it's a big responsibility to have a location right across from the Western Wall. But we take that responsibility very seriously, and we try to do it to try to inspire and reach as many Jews as we can. Okay? We'll just do a little introduction, let people use the bathrooms, let people get some water, and just because a lot of times I find people are like walking here, it's hot, whatever, so you want to just let them do it, and then we head upstairs. Okay?
Do you give them the Wi-Fi password?
You'll get
how
the-
much they paid.
Yeah.
And do
get
they have
the
to check
Wi-Fi. Come with us,
their
Will.
IDs and what's the process?
So generally not right now. Generally not.
Yeah.
Don't let people check in. It depends. Sometimes for like the essentials, we do have a check-in. So it depends. It depends.
Is it check-in here for essentials?
Yeah,
Both
yeah, they do it right here.
Okay.
They do it right here. So it really depends on the group. Right now, like for example, let's say you have an Aish plan who's bringing a group.
Yes.
We're not checking those people in because they're coming with the group. They know.
Been verified.
Or sometimes it'll be just like an individual coming, and again, so we know who they are.
Okay.
Email them. So
Yeah.
we generally don't. That's always something else that bothers me.
I'm wondering, the bathrooms are
So
here.
generally, what's that?
Glass Murano?
Who made it?
Yeah.
No, Chihuly.
Oh, Chihuly.
Yeah. So usually I tell people, gather around a little bit, come around the circle. And the reason why I like to take people here is, first of all, it's beautiful. That's number one. Number two, also, it's nice to have a stop before you go up onto the roof. Like I felt it just adds a little bit more anticipation because a lot of people are coming to see the roof, and like it's good, to make your way up. But what's really powerful about this is it's a great introduction to tell people about Aish, right? So I start by saying, okay, this is, many people have never heard of Dale Chihuly, but many people have. This is Dale Chihuly is an American glass artist, one of the most famous in the world. He has commissioned art all over the place, and we had a supporter who commissioned this piece for Aish. And so then I asked people, what do you think it is?
The octopus.
The octopus, yeah, get that a lot?
613 votes.
Oh, I never heard that. That's nice. Did you count it that quickly?
Yeah.
I heard this past week someone said, what is it, Medusa? Is that her name?
Oh, yeah.
Medusa with the
Medusa,
hair,
yeah.
right? Some people say, what else? Any other thoughts? Fire.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Pretty dress.
Fire.
Colors.
Oh,
is that?
so that's the punchline. But a lot of people say they see shofars, whatever. So everyone, it's good. Let people guess what it is.
The colors, the fire is going into Judaism.
Oh.
The blue.
Beautiful.
It's like
So
thinking it's
what this is
coming down with Judaism.
based on the story of one of the most famous rabbis in the Talmud, which is Rabbi Akiva, right? So Rabbi Akiva, and what made Rabbi Akiva so famous, and why he's so special to Aish, is that Rabbi Akiva didn't study any Judaism until he was 40 years old, right? And so he grew up really as an ignoramus, someone who was not connected to his Judaism. And the Talmud tells a story that one day he was walking in the forest and he saw water dripping into a rock, right? And he saw that there was a hole being made in the rock. And he stopped because he was perplexed. How can water, which is soft, make a hole in a rock, which is something that's hard? And the Talmud says that he said to himself, if water, which is soft, can make a hole in a rock, which is hard, then the fire of the Torah, the Aish HaTorah, can certainly penetrate a person's heart, right? And he had this sort of epiphany that, you know what, maybe I thought all this time, okay, like all of us, we want to be great, we want to be the CEO, we want to be the great rabbi, but we want to do it overnight. Rabbi Weinberg used to say, everyone wants to be Mashiach, right? But they want to be Mashiach overnight, and they want to sleep that night, right? So it's very true, right? We all want to be, but he realized it's just drop by drop by drop, that if you're persistent and if you stick to it, right, that it's something that can change our lives and can change who we are, and that's the power of Torah. And he changed his life. He became Rabbi Akiva, right? As we know, he had 24,000 students who eventually then had additional students who were the ones who we really pass all of the Torah down through. And so that's where this name comes from. The fire of the Torah, Aish HaTorah, right? This is the fire coming down, then turning into the water, right? That was going into the rock. And so Rabbi Weinberg started Aish 50 years ago. He felt that because Rabbi Akiva was someone who later in life, right, came, and that's really what Aish is about. Because most people who come through this building, most people who study at Aish, they didn't have the opportunity to have a Jewish education. They didn't, like I said downstairs, what we really focus on, most of them did not grow up with a Jewish education, and now later in life are finding that it's something they connect to, and then it's never too late, right? It's never too late. So many people, I usually give an anecdote that, I actually was for a while studying with a very successful business person, and he was in his 50s, and he was very hard on himself. And he often would say to me, I wish I had this 20 years ago. I wish I had this 30 years ago. I missed so much time. I'm in my 50s now. And I would say to him, I'd say, Jonathan, you know what someone in their 70s is saying? I wish I had this 20 years ago, right? I wish I had this, so we're all in the place that we're at, right? And we get introduced to Judaism whenever that time is. The question is, are we going to be like Rabbi Akiva and recognize, okay, we can jump in drop by drop, right? It's never too late, and drop by drop can really change us and can change our families, and every step that we take, whether it's studying more, whether it's doing a mitzvah, can make a big difference. So that's this, yeah? Questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mosaic,
I have no idea what that mosaic is. That's a good question. I don't know. Which is also, if anyone who was in Rabbi Palatnik's class this last week when he taught, that was one of the key things. But don't be afraid to say you don't know. This building, both of our buildings are on the locations, have deep archaeological history, and so there's a lot of designs and things that are found that sort of represent that. But I'm not really sure what that design is.
Which is the artist?
What's that?
I think the outside or date palm. I don't know.
It could be.
It's a weird guess.
Yeah.
You see the artist's name is?
Dale Chihuly. It's in the notes that I'll give you guys. I don't think so. I don't think he is. Yeah, I don't think he is. What?
Probably Italian.
Yeah, I don't know. He was here. I mean, it was amazing. There's a video I saw a long time ago where they actually have him like over the time building it. Because literally, he has to create every single one of those is an individual piece. Right? Yeah. Every single one's a piece that he created, then had to put together in a perfect way. You can see, unfortunately, at the bottom, it's been damaged. I think that happened at one point when it was being cleaned or something. I'm not exactly sure. And they fixed it somewhat, not 100%, because I guess only Chihuly himself could fix it or whatever it was, but it was decided to keep it up because people still find it fascinating. Okay.
Do they clean it now? 'Cause it looks a little dusty. Yeah, I guess not after
That's
that.
why I brought you guys.
Yeah. And sponges.
Okay. Any other questions?
So check it out. Yeah. Remember I asked you if it was Murano?
Yeah.
So look at it's done at the Murano factory of Murano Island.
That's so cool.
It was a Murano Fulbright.
Really? Wow.
What, this exact thing?
So yeah, it's in Italy. It's like a famous.
I think that it was the idea of why Rabbi Weinberg started Aish Torah based on the story of Rabbi Akiva. Obviously, that was given to him. But then, I think based on that, he came up with the idea. I actually, by the way, I don't always say it, just another idea just to have in mind if you're thinking about it. I know Rabbi Yehuda Weinberg, who often, because his office is right here, sometimes I see him, he comes and he speaks to groups that they're coming by. So he likes to say, Aish HaTorah, right? What is the fire of the Torah? So the fire of the Torah, like what does that mean? But he says, what is fire? Fire is energy. Fire is power, right? Fire is, you put energy in the car, that's what makes it run, right? So the Torah, which is instructions for life, fire is the energy, the power that gives us the energy to bring the wisdom of life into the world. That's really what the Aish Torah stands for, is giving us the energy and the power and the excitement and the simcha in order to, bring wisdom into the world, and that's what Aish is about. So, okay, so this is a good introduction. So now I take people up to the roof, okay? We're not gonna have enough time, I think now today, to go through the whole roof, but this is a two-part thing. I think next, by the way, there's just so you know, there's gonna be, you get a sneak preview. There's gonna be a change in the schedule because Rosh Shiva is not gonna be around next week. So next Wednesday, we're gonna do the second part of this. But I'll tell you before we go up there, because I don't know how sunny or hot it is up there, just a little bit upstairs. So when I take people up on the roof, first of all, a lot of people have a lot of questions and what is this? And so I highly recommend, if you're not that familiar, do some research. You know, it's not hard. Like, do some research about the area and the temple and the history of it and what's the Western Wall and what are the things that you're looking at. And like, I'll point out to some things up there when we're there. But all this stuff, you know, if you spend a couple hours researching it, you'll know more than 99% of the people. So that's good. But for me, the goal up there is not to give people a history lesson, right? I try to do that a little bit because people want that a little bit, like you're feeling they're being educated. But the question is, what do we want them to walk away with, right? And when we want to we want them to walk away with, right? In my mind, is what was that place really about, right? What did it represent? Why is it so important to the Jewish people, right? It's not just a bunch of rocks, right? What was that place? And at the end of the day, the way I try to, and we'll talk about when we get up there, is really based around the idea of Ki Mitzion Teitzei Torah, right? From Zion, the Torah comes out. That this was the place where the values and the morals that the Jewish people stand for would come out to the world. And it's a great tie-in because that's what Aish is about, right? And that's really the punchline of what I'm trying to get to up there. We lead to it, but again, what I was saying before, you can come up with your own things. And maybe there's a fact thing that you find interesting and you want to point out to people. For example, I just found out this last week that the entire platform of the Temple Mount, right, fit 21 football fields. That's how big it was. That's super cool, right? Now, does it really matter? No, it's cool, but it's a cool fact, right? So I'll throw it in there to tell people. So like, you want to educate people and make them feel like they came and they really learned about this place. That's why they're coming. But the goal, right, is like I said, is like it's the spiritual. It's the spiritual goal. What is this place about? That's what we want. That's what we want to give them. Okay. So we'll go up and we'll start, and then we'll probably have to continue next year. So first of all, when I take people up, the first thing is just let people take it all in. Right? Don't, like, even giving people a few minutes to just stand up here, take pictures, walk around, right? And I'll even say that to people, just take it in. Take in and take a few minutes, take in the view, and then we'll gather back together. Wow, it's still amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Still amazing. On the roof?
This thing right here.
I'm not sure. I know
they used to have like a,
computers there or something.
yeah,
like
well, I think it was even like a display, like a
display.
but that got
Can't see anything.
that had info on that like all got worn.
Right. By the way, one thing I try to tell people when I come up here, which I forgot to tell you guys, is bring sunglasses. Because it gets really, I know some people are, I'm more sensitive to it. But
Get Aish sunglasses.
I think so.
Actually,
Get an Aish sunglasses.
Good idea. Get
That's a really good idea.
Aish sunglasses, get them out.
That's very cool. I like
Oh.
that idea. I like that idea.
It's a great idea. Wow.
Because it could get very
Working our.
Yeah.
What was happening here?
You also have to be a little, like, in the winter, I've had this where it's raining. So that's hard, right? So what you can do then is down on the 5th floor by the Chihuly, you know, so there's like the balconies. And so you can have people say, like, you can stand outside if you want, take a look, or maybe come back in, and then you can really give the
This
spiel
one right here?
Yeah, this is one of the balconies, even though there's really not so much covering here. There's another one on the other side that has a little bit more
Okay.
covering, but it's only happened to me a couple times in the winter where it's like really raining, and then it just is what it is. You can tell people you're welcome to go out there. You're gonna get wet, or people want to stay inside, and I'm gonna explain what it is here, and then you can let people do both. Okay, so after people spend a few minutes in taking their pictures. By the way, one other fact, just so you should know, is the best place to take a picture, according to Yehuda Levi, is right over here. Where,
Oh, because you can stand, get them stick.
yeah,
photographer
the
stands up there.
photographer can be up there, and this
Yeah.
right here is the direct line right to the hotel.
Yeah.
So when people want to take the best pictures, they can stand up here. Depending on the group, if it's a group of people that are a little bit older, you could use the seats and let people sit, depending on what they're doing. I find that you're only going to be up here for 10, 15 minutes at most. People are fine standing, but obviously it's nice to use these feet as well. Okay, so I always start with the question, right? This place is like the world is focused on this place. And when I say that, I don't mean just the Jewish people, right? This is the holiest place in the world for the Jews, but all you have to do is look around and you see mosques and you see churches, right? The world is focused on this place, right? So the question is why? Why, literally at a certain time of day, right? You could see all kinds of Jews going to the Western Wall to pray. You could hear church bells. You could hear the calls of the prayer, the Muslims. Like, why is this the place that politically, religiously, right, the world is focused on? And so I start by saying, Judaism believes that we've had a connection to this place for thousands and thousands of years, right? Maybe you've heard the story of Abraham and Isaac, the binding of Isaac, right, where Abraham took his son up. We believe it happened in this place, right? And God told him to sacrifice his son. Don't worry. The last minute he told him not to, right? But it's a powerful idea because why? What was happening there? How could it be that God wanted Abraham to kill his own son, right? Now, he didn't. He told him not to, but it was teaching us this profound idea that there are certain things in life worth dying for, right? There are certain ideas worth dying for. Judaism, by the way, says don't die for them, live for them. But every person has to know what they're willing to give their life for, right? Because it's, right, how can a mother send her child out to war, right? She doesn't like her child? No, because she's saying there's certain things worth giving our lives for. So that's one of the first things we learned at this place. And the Torah and Judaism, right? If you heard Jacob's ladder, we believe that happened here. And so this really, while this for right, centuries and centuries, really millennia, this was a center focus for the Jewish people. Now, eventually, when the Jews came into the land of Israel, they were here for hundreds of years, and they came and made this as their capital, right? Anyone know who was the first person who came here to make this the capital of the Jewish people? King David, right? Donald Trump, very good. So, by the way, that's another good thing. I try to ask people as many questions as you can. You could just be talking and talking and talking. The same thing you want to say, you could just ask people if they know, right? And generally, I find, unfortunately, most people don't know much, right? And so they usually don't know the answer, but if you're getting them, King, who was that? Oh, was it, and they're like trying to think, was it Moses? Was it, no? King David, So that's a good way to make, especially up here, we're going to talk a little bit longer, make it interactive, is try to ask people as many questions as you can. So it's actually a little harder to see over there. I usually stand actually over there because then I'll point out to people down by Silwan, which was the original city of David. And you could point out, you can see the city of David down there. And that was the point where King David came to build his capital. But David himself didn't build the temple, right? It was his son, King Solomon, who built it. We believe that it was built almost 3,000 years ago. I think it was like 983 or something like that was the year. It stood for about 400 years. It was then destroyed by, anyone know who? No.
That's you.
No, the Babylonians.
Yeah,
the Babylonians, right? Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the first temple. It was actually, that temple, it was destroyed by the Babylonians. The Jews were exiled to Persia. That's where the story of Purim happened. They were only there actually for about 70 years. And King Cyrus the Great declared that the Jews could return back to the land of Israel and build the second temple. And they built the second temple. A couple hundred years after that, Herod, right? Herod the Great, King Herod came and really did a renovation that built the second temple into an amazing place. Now, especially the first temple that King Solomon built was an archaeological feat, right? It was an unbelievable, people from all over the world came to see it. They were quarrying stones that we still don't know today how they got the stones to this place. There are stones that are 500 tons, right, that they were able to bring and became the foundation of the temple area. And if you go down into the Western Wall tunnels, right, you can actually still see some of those stones. And they brought, trees and wood from Lebanon, and they brought gold and copper and all kinds, the finest of the finest. Like I said, it was a place that people came from all over the world to see. But what made the temple special was not just its its architectural greatness, is what it stood for, right? And what it stood for. And so we believe in Judaism, our tradition tells us that there were literally open miracles that were happening in the temple. Now, I personally then tell people 3 open miracles two. I tell them 2 open miracles and then another fact about the temple. So the 2 open miracles that I like to tell, just checking what time it is. Anyone know what time
That's
it is?
1:45, 10
Okay,
to.
so we have a few more minutes.
You got the clock in.
Beautiful. You can see that far. Okay, that's good. So I like to tell people 2 miracles, but the reason I give these miracles is because there's a message behind them, right? So the first miracle I tell people is that, the Talmud describes how 3 times a year, the Jewish people were commanded to come to this place. Now, why would there be a commandment to come to this place? Why would you think the Torah tells the Jewish people 3 times a year they have to come here?
So you can stay connected.
Yeah, they come here, be inspired, come see the miracles, feel God's presence, be unified with the Jewish people, and then go back to your homes. So you can imagine when everyone was coming here at the same time, and they would all go up to the temple, it'd be incredibly crowded, right? The Talmud describes, like, anyone ever been here on the New York City subway, like at rush hour, right? So the Talmud describes that it was so crowded that people's feet would not touch the ground. Right? They were literally being carried because there was nowhere to stand. But at the moment in the prayers where every person was commanded to do a full prostration on the ground, the Talmud says there was room for everyone. It was a miracle, right? Open miracle. So what does that mean? So the idea behind that is that in the physical world, there's limited resources. There's limited space, right? You have your car, I can't have it. You have your watch, I can't have it, right? But in the spiritual world, there's room for everyone, right? We can share wisdom, we can share spirituality. Just because I have it doesn't mean that you can't. In fact, that is the idea of spirituality, that we can share it with each other, right? So that's one idea.
Why is it too much to add on to that it says that your houses will be protected, no one's gonna come attack you, and then to say, oh, and if you want to learn more about the proofs, you can go to the Discovery Club. Is it too much?
You're saying when you can say it as a side point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that as a side point. But you also when you get when you do it a few times, you start to learn when you can add a side point, when not, how much patience people have. It's hot up here.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of find the balance. But yeah, absolutely. If it's relevant to what you're talking about, then absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So the second miracle that I like to talk about is the Talmud also says that the flames on the Mizbeach never were extinguished, right? Even when it was raining, even when it was, I don't know if it snowed, maybe we've seen, I don't know, you guys ever been here when it snowed? I was there a couple times. But even when it was raining, right, the fires of the Mizbeach would never get extinguished. And the Talmud also says that's a miracle, right? So what's the idea there? The idea there is that fire and water, which are polar opposites, when they can come together for a higher purpose, to serve spirituality, to serve God, they can coexist and they can come together. That was the idea. But one of my favorite facts about the temple, and I use this now as my segue into what I was talking about before, what's the real purpose of this place. One of my favorite facts or tidbits about the temple is, I always say, anyone here an architect? All right? There's always one person, maybe. Oh, no, okay, good. So I can say whatever I want, right? So I'd say, but people get it, right? If you're building a house and you want to have a lot of natural light in the house, what do? So you can build a window that is very narrow on the outside and wide on the inside, so a little light will come in and then it'll spread inside the house, right? In the temple, the windows were built the opposite way. They were narrow on the inside and wide on the outside. Why? Why would they build it that way? The light out. Right. So the Talmud says, God says, I don't need the light from the outside. Right? Meaning what? The light from the inside was so powerful that we wanted it to spread out to the world. So what was that light? Right? What was that thing that we wanted to spread to the world? So then the temple stood right here, right? And this was the place, the dome that you see here in Judaism, in some ways we're actually happy that they built it here, because it actually allowed us to keep our tradition that we believe that they built it right on the place where the temple stood, right? This is a huge area of the Temple Mount. When King Solomon came to build the temple, this was a mountain. It's hard to build a big structure on a mountain. So the first thing he did is he created a huge plaza, right? A plaza, he basically leveled the top of the mountain. It was so big, like I mentioned before, you could fit 21 football fields up there. And then he put the temple in the middle. But how do we know exactly where it was? So our tradition tells us right where that dome is standing is where the temple stood. Now the temple faced to the eastern side. So we would actually be standing looking at the back of the temple right now, right? But the way that the temple stood, let's say this is the back where we're standing here, the Holy of Holies, the most holy place in the temple, stood at the back of the temple. So even though right now we'd be facing the back, we would be to the closest as you possibly could get to that Holy of Holies, right? And what was in the Holy of Holies? Anyone know what was in the Holy of Holies?
Broken tablets, the tablets,
Yeah.
manna.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. Very good. But the core of what was in the Holy of Holies was the Aron, the Ark, right?
Yeah, that was in.
Exactly. And what was in the
tablets.
Aron? Like you said, the
Tablets.
tablets. So what are the tablets? The tablets of the Torah.
Isn't there one other thing in there?
The staff, Moshe's staff, right? But this is all first temple. The second temple, we didn't have those things, but I don't have to get into that. Right? But the light, when the Torah says about the light coming out of the temple, it was talking about the light of the Torah, the Holy of Holies, the holiest place in the temple. And in the ark and in the place that was most protected was the Torah. And what does that mean? The light of the Torah going out. It means the values and the morals of the Torah, right? That it was what we wanted to share with the world. That was what was coming out from this place. There's this idea called Ki Mitzion Teitzei Torah, from Zion, which is this mountain. The Torah will come out and it will be spread to the world, right? So at this point, I think I'm going to end now, but at this point, and we'll start with this next week, I actually start getting into what are some of those values and morals. So if anyone is familiar with Rabbi Spiro's World Perfect, I just take 2 or 3 examples and I give those and just start talking about how this is how we spread it to the world. So we'll continue. Any questions on anything I said? Yeah.
Yeah. So how can you fit 21 football fields on it? It doesn't look like this.
All the way across.
So the Temple Mount, and many people do ask this. This is one of the questions people ask is, so this is the Western Wall. So the Western Wall actually goes down to this corner.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's this mosque thing, what is
Minaret.
it called, right? Minaret. And then there's another minaret. That is the northern part of the whole Temple Mount area. So when you take the whole area, it's huge.
Oh, that whole
So
thing.
it's only 3
Oh,
by
I didn't realize
7.
it goes all the way there.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. 3 by 7 football field.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, you can,
yeah.
and that easy to see it.
And then, but I think the temple was not built this high. It was built lower than. Is that not true?
It could be that there were additional things built on top of it.
Because then my next question would be, if that's the stone, what's it called? What do we call it in Hebrew?
Yeah,
The
Even HaShtiyah.
Even HaShtiyah. And we know the Even HaShtiyah was under the Kodesh Kodeshim,
Yes.
so that means that it would be above it. Or unless the Arabs dug it out and brought it up,
What do you mean that it would be above it? What do you mean by that?
They
the
built
Kodesh Kodeshim would have been built above the Even HaShtiyah.
Correct.
So, but you can see it. If you walk inside the dome, you can see it.
I don't
Isn't
think
it
that's
there?
I don't think that's the
It
actual.
is.
That's not it.
I think
It
that's
is.
just the representative.
It is it, but it's
Really?
it's been widened out, meaning the topsoil on top of it. It used to, meaning
You believe it's the actual?
It is, yeah.
Oh, it's a very
the
big
bedrock.
stone.
Can't move it
It's a
around.
deep stone.
It looks like a
It's the
meteorite.
bedrock. It's the
It's
solid
like
rock.
hollow.
So it's instead in the Mikdash, so it was 2.5 amos by an arm and a half. That was what was revealed.
Yeah.
Basically, all the topsoil on top of it has been worked away over the centuries, and now so now there's like 17 feet by whatever.
So, but the Mikdash really was taller than it. It was about this height.
It was, yeah, it would have been. It's the in place where that building is. There,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was a Mikdash,
Yeah, but
This is-
higher because.
This is half the height.
Oh, because they had
This
the
building's-
stairs and the stairs and the.
This building's half the height, the base. This is like 60 feet, and the
I read
base
Talmud,
is 120 feet.
Amazing.
It's great. And do you show them our little
I
temple?
don't actually usually do it just because I find that, again, my goal up here is not to get into all the minutiae of the temple and all this. It's to give over these messages.
If you're curious, you can come back
So
again.
yeah, and then like I said, even before I give them some minutes or afterwards, if they really are interested and what is that? Oh yeah, come check it out, and they can look at it, especially if they have time. It depends on how much time they have. Some people come and they're like, we got 30 minutes, Rabbi, and so you gotta move through. If they're hanging out and you have the time, yeah, go check it out. But I usually don't.
And you have like the Temple Institute here also.
Yeah, there's time. If they want to learn about that, there's so many places they go. Here, it's about the messages behind it, about what Aish is about. Yeah. Okay, so we'll
Cool.
continue next.